John Mateer continued his Heisman campaign over the lowly Owls with a big performance. Oklahoma's offense is back.
You are Locked On Sooners, your daily podcast on the Oklahoma Sooners. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, Sooner Nation? Welcome to Locked On Sooners, and thank you for making Locked On Sooners your first listen every single day. Shout out to all the everydayers out there. Tune in and subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Download the FanDuel app today. I'm John Williams of Sooners Wire at USA Today Sports. He's Jay Smith of Unfair Sports. Go check out his channel for more Oklahoma and college football content over there. Jay, the Oklahoma Sooners offense looked like it could have named its number on Saturday against Temple. John Mateer had a really nice game. Another big day with 340 total yards, 380 plus passing, 60 plus rushing. Just another strong performance for John Mateer.
Yeah, John Mateer got and did everything that we hoped for. So the question we have to ask here now, John, is the Oklahoma Sooners offense back? Like the old school offense that we're used to that Oklahoma has had, has it made its valiant return back to college football? I'm going to tell you, fans, think we're right about there. Think we're close. And there's reasons why I believe that we are close to being, back. Now, we're not a top 10 offense in the country, not even by a long shot right now, but we are ranked 28th in the country in total offense right now. But John, do you know where we rank in the SEC in passing yards?
Tell me, Jay, where do we rank?
We're like one of the top 5 in the SEC overall. Okay. But guess where John Mateer's ranked? Number one. He has the number one. He's the number one yards quarterback in the SEC. Now, now it sounds weird for me to say, wait, he's number one, but he doesn't. Don't forget, they bring in backups and pad stats more and more in a lot of these games. But as far as quarterbacks go, John Mateer is number one in the SEC in passing yards this season. And so, yeah, we're getting closer and closer to being back to the old school Oklahoma offense. Ben Arbuckle has done some wizardry here. And I think the only thing we got to figure out now is similar to what Jeff Lebby had to figure out when he was here. It's getting the running game going. And I'm going to be honest, I think we may end up with a Eric Gray type season from somebody. I think somebody still hits 1,000 yards.
I think a lot of people will look at the Oklahoma offense like it put in its 2 weeks notice during the 2024 season, and it was just going to find another place to work. No, man, the Oklahoma offense just was on FMLA. It wasn't available because it was injured and banged up and on the shelf, had to recover, had to do a little rehab, the shoulder injury. This is all, again, HR terminology for all of you out there. But they were always coming back. The Oklahoma offense was always going to come back. They were still considered a full-time employee at your workplace. They were just on the shelf for a little bit. And that's what we're seeing this year is that they're back. They've clocked in. They've taken their spot on the floor, in the nurse's station, on the sales floor, wherever, in the IT department, wherever you want to have them. They've retaken their spot. And this is a good Oklahoma offense. Is it a great Oklahoma offense? Not yet. No, it's not. But it is a good Oklahoma offense. And what have we said all offseason, Jay? All this thing has to do is be good. Yeah. Because the defense was going to be good as well. And they were going to be able to play complementary football. If any of those 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019 teams had the defense that Oklahoma has right now, those are national title teams, bro. Like, I'm not even going to placate anybody. I'm not even going to be humble about it. You combine those offenses with this defense, and they are winning a national title. So for Oklahoma to be competitive, to be a contender in the SEC, to be a contender for a college football playoff spot, we're seeing the formula. Good offense, great defense. They've got the opportunity to do a big thing this year.
Yeah, and I point that out because, okay, you can look at the competition. Oh, we played Illinois State. We played Temple. We did also played Michigan.
Yep.
And Michigan was throttling just about everybody for the most part. Like, the New Mexico game wasn't all that great for them, but they still didn't give up 300 yards in that game. They gave 267, which is pretty darn good, especially when you put up 420 and 52 yourself. They just was putting themselves in, like, pretty bad positions. But then they went out after our game, played up against Central Michigan, and they just destroyed them. Like, Central Michigan finished that game with 142 yards total offense.
That's crazy.
And they struggled against stopping us.
Yeah.
They did. We did everything we needed to do to put the ball in place. And I think they still got some people down. We just kept putting the ball in places that they couldn't handle it. Like, physically, we were very imposing on them and forced them to not play the type of game that they wanted to. They thought they were going to bully us around. We bullied them around instead. And that, to me, is where your sign is for Oklahoma in this offense. If there's other thing to keep in consideration, we have one of the best pass blocking grades and pass blocking units right now in college football. I think that that's something that we should take pride in. We need to get better on the run blocking side of it. Yep. But I think that's more of a scheme thing in comparison. But pass blocking, oh no, we're doing very good. I know, right? I was surprised when I looked at it. I'm like, wait, y'all actually like us on pass blocking? Yeah. We're actually really good at that. Like, John Mateer has time.
Right.
He has time to make his decisions, go through his progressions. And sometimes if he wants to wait a little bit longer, and at some point we're going to start seeing some really deep passes, especially against Auburn. I expect it because we saw Baylor do it like crazy. We're going to be seeing him go through these progressions with enough time and be able to throw it deep. If we were able to give Mateer time against Michigan, we're going to definitely be able to give him time against Auburn this coming week.
The pass protection has been the thing that I've been most impressed with because that was such a sore subject last year.
Yes.
It was the death nail for this team against Ole Miss, against Mizzou. I mean, you could name any number of games in which Oklahoma's pass protection failed the quarterbacks and didn't allow them an opportunity to get the ball off. Now, as I was talking with my wife today or on Sunday, it wasn't just all on everything around the quarterbacks. The quarterbacks were also a problem too. So you've got an improved quarterback, plus everything else around the quarterback looks a lot better. The offensive line thing has been really, really impressive. When Temple decided to drop everybody into coverage and just rush 3 or 4, John Mateer literally had all day. He could have had a picnic back there because that's how good the pass protection was. And you're down Michael Fasusi and you're still having really good pass protection. So shout out to Logan Howland and the rest of the offensive line for putting together another good performance. One thing that I've really enjoyed seeing is the diversity of pass catchers. And I talked about it in the morning after show that I put up on YouTube and on your podcast feeds on Sunday morning, how you've had a new leading wide receiver each week.
Yes.
This season. Keontez Lewis led the team in receiving week 1. Deion Burks led the team in receiving week 2. And then it was Isaiah Satania who led the team in receiving in week 3. And digging into his game a little bit more, 5 of his 7 receptions were at or behind the line of scrimmage. And he still had 97 yards receiving. He had 70 plus yards receiving on catches at or behind the line of scrimmage. Like, I think they were purposely trying to put a lot on tape. Like, hey, we're going to throw it to Isaiah behind the line of scrimmage just so it gets teams cheating up so that then they can go over the top for over the top. So that's going to be exciting to watch. And then Jaren Kanak, man. Jaren Kanak has become a go-to guy. I did not expect it this quickly, but he's a go-to guy for this team.
John, that's something that we just wanted, was a tight end that would be serviceable. And all the flowers go to Jaren Kanak, and I feel like we deserve to give him an entire segment and just break down every single thing this kid has done, because you know that he leads, I think, all tight ends in the country in receiving yards so far.
He leads Oklahoma in receiving yards right now.
He leads tight ends in college football. Something that we would have, if you would have said this summer, I would have thrown something at you, John, when I saw you at SEC Media Days and said, John, you're crazy. What are you on? What are you smoking? I would like some
myself in a locker.
Right? We would have stuffed you. Yes, we would. I would have recorded you stuffing yourself in a locker, because that would have been a ridiculous notion or even a ridiculous thought. But that's not what's happening right now. Like, again, it's him, Burks, and then Keontez Lewis. We hope that he's better. His dad has said that he's good. So I'm anticipating we'll probably not see him this week, but probably see him against Kent State. But I'm not going to count any of the eggs before they hatch. We're just going to wait and see what the final assessment is there with him. But no, John, like Kanik leading the way in receiving, just it's crazy that we've had different guys lead the way each game. Yeah. It's this is what we hoped for last season. Right. This was the safety net, the blanket, the continuity we hoped for last season with the receiver room that we had. And now it looks like we finally have brought that forward. And so I expect more from these guys because we can go about 6 deep.
Yeah, Keontae Lewis may miss this week, but you may be closer to getting a Giovanni Gibson back. That's going to be an injury to watch as we get the SEC availability reports for the first time this week, and we'll cover that here on Locked On Sooners. The Oklahoma defense, my goodness, they played with a lot of ferocity on Saturday against Temple. Let's discuss them coming up next here on Locked On Sooners.
Caffeine just got a flavor upgrade. 5-Hour Energy Shots delivers tasty caffeine in 17 bold flavors. Each 2-ounce shot packs the caffeine of a premium 12-ounce cup of coffee, plus B vitamins and nutrients with 0 sugar and 0 crash. What I love most about them is how portable they are. They're big, taste, tiny shot. You can take it wherever and get that boost you need anytime. Like I usually pop one first thing in the morning, and I'll pop one right before I hit the gym in the afternoon. That way I can get a good workout in, especially because I love the berry. Go into the orange, dabble a little bit, but berry has been the one that has been holding your boy down. So enough with the boring flavorless caffeine. It's time to get your caffeine a flavor upgrade with 5-Hour Energy Shots. Get the flavors you love or be bold and try something new in store, online at 5hourenergy.com or Amazon today.
Once again, thanks for making Locked On Sooners your first listen every single day. Shout out to all the everydayers out there. Tune in and subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Jay, the Oklahoma defense was absolutely dominant against a Temple Owls team that had put up a lot of points and a lot of yards through the first couple weeks of the season. They didn't give them any room to work. They did not allow them to get comfortable in the slightest.
So it's funny. I know we've both mentioned this on a few occasions, and I just kind of want to emphasize this a little bit. Temple averaged over 510 yards per game coming into this game. Everyone that we've played so far this year averages over 45 points per game before they played us. I want y'all that to sink in. 40, I think Illinois State's like over 40 right now. I know Michigan's 48. I know Temple's like 48. That's what they averaged before they played against us, and we held them way below all their averages. We held Temple to 5 yards in a game where we played 29 dudes. This is why I point this out, John, and I'm hoping everybody really lets this sink in, and why I am really gassing up the fact that we did this to Temple. Everybody else in the conference played other teams as well. They, played, there's about 5 games where they played basically a quote unquote cupcake. And in those games, really only 2 of them actually dominated in a way that you're supposed to, Missouri and Mississippi State. Everybody else was kind of a little shaky. Texas was a little shaky with UTEP, right? Kentucky was a little shaky with Eastern Michigan. My point behind that is
Auburn was a little shaky
with South Alabama. But my point is they all played their 2 and their 3 deeps as well, and things were still shaky. We went 2 and 3 deep. Wyatt Gilmore got a sack. Did y'all expect that on y'all's bingo card? That is,
I expect the Philadelphia police to show up and arrest him for assault. My God.
Exactly, because that was a beautiful fumble he caused too. But he's your 3 deep. We went pretty deep into the cupboard to play a lot of players just because we had the opportunity to. And we were still able to maintain the consistency we needed. James Nesta's out there getting hits in. That's my point. If we had let them get close, at least half of what they had got on offense, Wouldn't be gassing this up. I'd be like, okay, we played Temple. We beat them like we were supposed to. Cool. We handle business. But the fact that we were able to drop them down to 20% of their offensive production, dude, y'all go ahead. Take a lap. You deserve it.
Yeah. I mean, they only allowed 2 yards per play, like 1.9 yards per play to be exact. That's incredible. And consider that they did allow a 20-yard run and still only allowed an average of 1 yard per carry in this game.
And we're going to do that.
Just
we're going to give up an occasional, big play here. I mean, game Michigan a 75-yard touchdown. Right. But the offense is also doing a great job of making sure that they're rested as well. That's the beauty of it.
Yeah.
It's just, but yeah, we played a lot of players. We played 29 players, John. 29 people played in this game. That's a lot.
Yeah.
I'm not sure people realize that.
I was shocked when I looked at the snap counts and saw that Jaden Jackson and Kendall Daniels had only played 12 snaps according to Pro Football Focus. Like they got in there for a couple of theories, and the coaching staff's like, "Y'all are good. You don't need any more. You're fine." But
it did not feel like it.
They went deep, man, and I love it. Marvin Jones Jr. played a lot, probably in large part due to the R. Mason Thomas ejection, but I mean, they got a lot of guys on the field, and those guys looked really, really good. They were flying around. They were playing with the same aggressiveness, the same attitude, the same physicality. And that's exciting, not just for this year, but for the future as well, that when you do lose some of these veteran players off the roster, that you got guys that are coming up right behind them. I mean, the safety trio of Reggie Powers III and Michael Boganowski and Jaden Hardy, like they were out there to try to punish some people. They weren't just trying to make tackles. They were actually trying to punish some folks, and they made it a huge impact.
Shout out to our boy Kendall Dobie as well. He got he got 28 snaps in this game. Him and Jacoby Johnson both had 28. Yeah. He played a lot. Devon Jordan had 30 in this one. And I think the thing with Kendall is funny because Pro Football Focus has on their stats that Kendall was targeted 4 times and he gave up 4 catches for 25 yards. That feels really low for someone to give up. You gave up 4 catches, but you only gave up 25 yards. I'm okay with that. And I think it was a lot of the underneath stuff where he was stepping back in a little bit of zone, waiting for him, and he came up and he went and tackled them, which he has a very high tackling grade because that's kind of what he does well. 4 tackles in the game. He was out there tackling folks. We get KD 15 back to go with KD 5. Whew. I think I'm good in our secondary, especially with Cortland Guillory playing. He played 26 snaps. You saw 4 corners, and I am actually you saw 6 because if I'm correct, Tristan Haynes also got some run in this game. I'm very happy to see and hear that's basically the thing that we were worried about the most was secondary going into this season, not safeties, but corners. And I think we're good. And so with that, John, I think we can keep this going with this defense. I think that this Auburn game will be another statement game that we do, similar to what we did against Michigan. It'll be our second statement game. And it'll also be the second one that I think most people will say don't count because of who we're playing against.
Yeah. I mean, it seems like Brent Venables out there to make statements. Like he was sending 8 and 9 rushers at Evan Simon in the second half. It was very much like we're out here to prove a point, not just to go win the game. Like against Illinois State, they just went and won the game. Against Michigan, they were flying around, they were physical, they were hitting, and they seemed like a team that was out there to try to prove like, hey, we're not going to suffer any letdown. We're not looking ahead to Auburn. We are focused on the task at hand. And they really were, man. It never really got away from them. Again, they allowed the big play on the ground, but then they bottled it up. They were able to stack up Temple and not allow them to get much further. The interception that should have been really a targeting play, when the defense got on the field, they knocked them back 3 yards and then forced a field goal. Like they continue to just absolutely shut down teams when they get good field position off of a turnover, off of a penalty or whatever it is. It's just they lock it up and they say, nope, that's it. You're good. That's all you're going to get. And so, man, it's been exciting to watch this defense play football because I feel like it's been a long time since we've seen a defense play as fast and physical and confident as this team is playing right now. Even last year's defense, it was good, but it wasn't as good as I think this one's going to be this year.
No, I agree with you 100%. And I've said it. I think that this defense will finish up being better than last season statistically. And I more so alluded to that being because the offense is going to be able to be complementary to it. But I think I may need to like adjust that because it kind of feels like this defense is just better because it's just better.
It's just better,
And
better.
being able to go deeper and people understanding this defense and being ready to play. Taylor Heim walked in there, 13 snaps in this, John, 4 tackles. He was up there at the top in tackles. And I mentioned how I'd be intrigued to see a Taylor Heim, Kendall Daniels lineup just because you'd have 2 giants running around, a 6'6 dude, athlete, and a 6'5 monster that keeps leveling people. That would be funny to see those 2 just roaming around. How hard would it be to throw it over the top of them? And there's a chance you may see something like that as Taylor Heim got out there on the field. And again, he got 4 tackles, 4 stops in just the 13 snaps he's played. So many people, the moment they got on the field, John, they took advantage of the opportunity. And that's where I'm the most proud. This defense is built to potentially keep going like this.
Yeah, in years past, we would have seen a drop off when you go to the second, third units. You know, a team gets a little bit of momentum. They're able to score a touchdown. There was no drop off. No drop off in intensity, no drop off in schematic understanding of what they're responsible for, no drop off in anything. They just played whistle to whistle and, again, dominated the Temple Owls. Again, maybe not as good of a Temple Owls team as what everybody was trying to gas it up, Kirk Herbstreit, but they dominated this team just like they should have. Last note, David Stone, like the coming out party is happening before our eyes.
Oh my gosh.
He is just wrecking shop there in the middle. He's just been so good, man. And eventually the sack is going to come. The big TFL is going to hit, but the pressure numbers he's putting up right now are just crazy.
It is ridiculous. We put up 27 pressures in this game on defense.
Yeah.
27.
Just crazy.
And they dropped back 27 times. Just a note.
Yeah. And final one, only 5 missed tackles. And that's the other part that can really get exacerbated when you go to a young player, a young unit, is more missed tackles with younger guys on the field. That was not the case against Temple. What do the polls look like? We got US LBM and AP top 25 polls coming up. We'll discuss here on Locked On Sooners.
This episode is brought to you by Prize Picks, the daily fantasy app where making the right call can actually pay off. You and I make decisions every day, but on Prize Picks, being right means cashing in. With football being back, Prize Picks is simplest and the fastest way to get in on the action. Just pick more or less on 2 or 6 player projections, and you can turn your takes into real prizes all in less than 60 seconds. Like me, I mean, we're looking at the NFL game coming up on this evening. There's a few players that I've been eyeballing on that Monday Night Football. It's quick and easy, and honestly my favorite way to follow along with football because I can see the stats and I know that the money I put in there has an option of making it happen. And best part, even if one of your picks misses, Prize Pick invested in the flex play so you can still double your money. So download the Prize Pick app today and use code LOCKEDONCollege to get $50 in lineups after your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONCollege for $50 in lineups after your first $5 play. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. And the NFL season is here, and FanDuel's making sure you're ready for kickoff and can't miss offer right now. New customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. So, as you guys know, I definitely hit Vegas quite often, and I love jumping to FanDuel while I'm looking at some of these games. Makes it easy and allows me to be able to, keep the games all exciting. So when I'm watching games on Saturday and Sunday, if I got an opportunity to put something in, definitely on there on FanDuel. So are you ready to play? Download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet.
Thanks again for making Locked On Sooners your first listen every single day. Shout out to all the everydayers out there tuning in and subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Jay, the USLBM coaches poll and the AP top 25 released on Sunday. The Oklahoma Sooners moved up to number 11 in the AP poll and number 12 in the coaches poll. What are your thoughts about where Oklahoma stands at this point?
Man, just go keep winning, baby. It's the only thing that matters. Like these make sense poll wise. I figured that that's where we would end up, would be in this range. And so like I went ahead, I got a little bored, of course, had to do my own calculations and see what the people actually picked. So we had 42 picks in the top 10. We have 42 votes in the top 10 on the AP side. 12 of them for number 10, 14 for number 9, 6 for number 8, 8 for number 7, and we got a vote for number 6 and a vote for number 5. So far the AP likes us. Now, granted, y'all know me. I always say this, and I'm not going to, sugarcoat this component of it is I don't really care much about these polls October.
Yeah.
That's when I really dig in, but it makes sense for us to keep y'all, abreast to what's happening, what these numbers look like up front. And so to me, I think it's fair. The coaches, them moving us to 12 is kind of shocking because they didn't even like us to start the season. And now it feels like they're like, oh, okay, I think Oklahoma might actually be good.
Yeah, I think people just remembered, oh, yeah, Oklahoma usually is pretty good. And when they're not good, there's probably a pretty big reason for it. But they're usually pretty good. So yeah, in the so Ohio State, number 1 team in the nation in both polls. In the AP, you got Penn State, LSU, Miami, and Georgia to round out the top 5. I'd probably have Georgia a little bit higher. Oregon comes in at 6, Florida State 7, Texas is down to number 8, Illinois at 9, and Texas A&M at 10 after their big win over Notre Dame. I think what's interesting, Jay, is you look at the coaches. There's 12 SEC teams ranked in the AP 11, and Oklahoma will play 7 teams in the AP and 8 teams in the coaches. South Carolina, the bigger difference. South Carolina dropped all the way out of the AP poll this week, still inside the coaches poll after their loss to Vanderbilt.
Yeah, that South Carolina dropping. That feels
nobody's giving them any grace for losing Lenore Sellers. That's for sure.
Yeah, none at all. Like, so I guess we got to see how long will he actually be out. I guess that's kind of the bigger question when it comes to him. But man, they really are not giving zero grace for them losing Lenore Sellers. Like, I would have never expected them to like kick them. They kicked them all the way down, man. Like, what are we doing here? Should they have been kicked down that far? I mean, Vanderbilt's a really good team. I think the biggest problem for me is Vanderbilt should have been more respected than what they were.
Yeah.
Who else did South Carolina lose to? Right. Exactly. Now, they do have a similar opponent in Vanderbilt both playing Va Tech, and South Carolina struggled with them to start the season, and then Vanderbilt destroyed them so that Old Dominion could put the nail in the coffin.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, the second half of that game, Vanderbilt, they outdid them by like 300 yards, John. And then because of that, Old Dominion went ahead and said, yeah, we're going to go ahead and Dunskies. And then they fired their coach.
That what Virginia Tech has become just breaks my heart. That was my grandfather's alma mater. He was part of the Corps of Cadets. So I'm by extension a little bit of a Hokies fan. Watched a lot of Michael Vick back in the early 2000s. It's sad to see what Virginia Tech has become. Hopefully they get their next coaching hire right. But aside from that, I feel like I don't really have a whole lot of complaints with the top 10. I think you could make an argument for a lot of teams up there. I think I'd have Georgia higher just because I was really impressed with their win over Tennessee. Gunnar Stockton looked great. The dude was tough as nails. The throw on 4th and 6 to go tie the football game was incredible. I mean, he stood in the pocket and took some shots and made some big time throws. I was very impressed with Gunnar Stockton. Yeah,
Gunnar Stockton to me is probably one of the more underrated quarterbacks in the SEC. Like, I can't say John Mateer is underrated anymore. He's getting all the gas you could possibly imagine from a quarterback. And the good thing is he's putting up the numbers. Again, I mentioned it in the first segment. He leads the SEC in passing yards at 944 yards. Team doesn't. He does. And he's the only quarterback that's really played. Michael Hawkins, he got a little bit of cleanup work against Temple. He's still, breaking off the rust or whatnot. But, yeah, John Mateer is no longer sneaking. It's between Joey Aguilar and Gunnar Stockton, and they had a shootout.
Yeah.
And that's literally like, wow, they really had a shootout. So now I'm ready to see. Let me ask you this question, John. Does Texas fall after this week if they put up another lackluster performance against a very weak opponent?
Possibly. I have no idea what to expect from Texas anymore. I really don't. Like, I really thought that Arch would be good. He's just been kind of average. Like, he had a great game against San Jose State. Okay, but it's been otherwise not very good. You know, inaccuracy, lack of confidence, indecisiveness, just, I don't know, man. I don't know what to make. Is it just the team is so young around him that he doesn't have any confidence in everything around him? To me, that's shocking. If that's the case, at the same time, then will he be able to get out of this funk as they get more experience as a team? I don't know that.
Yeah, I would have never guessed that. Now, I guess the biggest question for me going to be is they will play. They got their Florida game coming up, and both teams feel like they got broken quarterbacks.
Yeah.
What is that game going to look like? Is it
like that game? That game looked like a college game day destination in the preseason. Now it looks like a mid-off is really what it looks like. Just two really average teams. I mean, could DJ Lagway throw another 5 interceptions against Texas? Possibly, but it could also be a 13-10 game.
That's a good point.
Because I don't trust Texas's offense right now to go score a bunch of points against what I think is a good Florida defense. So, man, I don't know. What are your thoughts on Auburn? You know, like, we're going to dig deep into Auburn throughout the week, but just like your initial thought on Auburn as we get ready for Auburn week.
I saw a lot of the Jackson Arnold performance over the last couple of weeks. It looked exactly like last year.
Yeah.
Lack of confidence in some of the passes. Throw them up every once in a while to certain players that you know you can throw it up to. Feels like the $2 million they're paying for those wide receivers is not a very good investment right now. Probably should throw more of those into the offensive line. Why? Because they're just running the ball like crazy.
Yeah, I think this is going to be one of those games where John Mateer has another big performance. We saw what Baylor did to him in week 1. I don't think this Auburn defense is going to be able to slow Oklahoma down consistently enough. And then if they get any kind of a lead, especially if they get a touchdown or more lead in this game, Brent Venables is just going to go to work. And we saw what he did to Temple last week. I'm not sitting here saying he's got any ill feelings or ill will towards Jackson Arnold at all. He's only spoken highly of him since he left. But you can bet that Brent Venables is going to want to go make a statement with his defense. I feel like that's what this whole season is about, is making statements. And the next one is next Saturday at 2:30 Central Time in Gaylord Family Oklahoma Memorial Stadium with Oklahoma and Auburn. So I think he's going to make a big statement in that one. And that's going to do it for today's episode of Locked On Sooners. Thanks so much for tuning in, being a part of the show. Subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts. We're free and available on all podcast platforms and on YouTube. So hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell over there to let you know when new episodes drop. Follow Jay at Unfair Sports. Go check out his channel, Unfair Sports, on YouTube for more college football and Oklahoma Sooners coverage. Follow me at John9Williams, and you can read my work covering the Sooners over at SoonersWire.com. The show is at Locked On Sooners on all of your favorite social media platforms: TikTok, X, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Threads, Pinterest, wherever you like to do your social media stuff, we are there. But until next time, he's Jay Smith. I'm John Williams. We'll talk to you then. Boomer.
Sooner.